Hello everyone, welcome to AgriViews, our video blog to cover everything related to agriculture, technology, trade, innovation and policies. We are doing a short series on global AgTech Innovation Hubs. We have covered India, the Netherlands and Israel. Today we will be talking about China. We all know China is different than any other country in the world. Their problems are very different than the rest of the world. If you see China, they are the only country in the world which initiated agriculture sector reforms before reforms in industry or in service sector. In 1966 to 1977, there were close to 33% of people in China below poverty line. However, in 1978, China started a very strategic move in making agriculture as a focus point of their economy. From 1978 till early 2000, China has moved majority of the people below poverty line above the poverty line, with people below poverty line around 3%. That was all because China intended to ensure that they are able to make their agriculture more rewarding for everyone. Let us understand a little bit about the China and its economy. So if you see, China is the most populated country in the world with close to 1.4 billion people who are resident of China, out of which 63% of the population is urban and 37% rural. If you see, out of all total population of China, 55.6% of the people of China are part of the workforce. Similarly, when we see the per capita income, China has been able to move from early 1960s being a low income country to a mid income country with $11,000 as their per capita nominal income. When we see about the overall GDP, China is having GDP of $15.2 trillion, which makes them the second largest economical superpower in the world, just behind USA. And with consistent growth of more than 6% for decades, China would be becoming the largest economy in the world sooner than later. If you see agriculture is close to $1.2 trillion in terms of GDP of China, which is 7.9% of the overall GDP, and 27% of the workforce is involved in agriculture. Another interesting aspect of China is that their food and agriculture processing and allied industry is close to 15% of overall GDP, on and above the agriculture GDP. In terms of export, China is having exports of $83 billion, which is 3.2% of their overall export. But China is also a big importer when it comes to agriculture produce. They are importing close to $185 billion worth of produce, which is 9.5% of their overall import. The biggest challenge with China is that even though it is a large country, the land under cultivation or arable land is very low. With 140 million hectares of land under cultivation, China is having 14.5% of its total land, which is arable. Now that's created a challenge when you are having 10% of global arable land while you have 20% of the global population. And that is what we have to understand, which has been the central piece of China's agriculture ecosystem. Before we get into the agriculture specifics, there is a person which I believe is very important and needs to be mentioned here. Yuanlong Ping, he is also known as father of rice, for simple reason. Today, 20% of the rice eaten across the world are from those variety which has been created by this super gentleman. He also was awarded with the World Food Prize in 2004. Some of the innovations which he has been able to do includes first, which is called salt rice or sea rice. Now, salt or sea rice are the variety of rice which are resilient to saline soil. A billion hectares of world's land is not cultivable because they have saline land or soil is saline. And the variety by Ping is capable to grow in those adverse climatic conditions as well. Second, in 1960s, the average per hectare yield in China was close to 1.5 metric ton per hectare. With the super rice variety which he championed, today some of the farms in China are able to cultivate close to 11 metric tons per hectare. All these led to a situation where towards mid 1990s China was rice self-sufficient, but because of reduction in aquifers and water, they are again a net importer. But I believe the work of Longping Ping is trying to change that again. The third innovation which he was able to achieve was growing rice in desert, which is called dry rice, with desert soil and very minimal use of water. Using a variety which was used in China thousands of years back, he's been able to cultivate rice in adverse desert climate as well. And that is why I believe it was very important to mention Yuanlong Ping for his achievements as his contribution toward not just the agriculture in China but to the world. So now let's understand the advantages and the challenges of agriculture in China. First, as I already explained, there is a limited arable land. China is having different sort of land where if you find south and southeast China is gifted with land which can cultivate multiple commodities. However, when we go towards the north, because of extreme type of soil as well as environment, it is very difficult to grow crops across the year. Similarly, if you go towards the western part of China, it is all desert, and a substantial part of China is having saline land which is close to 100 million hectares. All that makes land a big factor in making China self-sufficient in their food needs. Second is the small holding of farmers. Typically, average farmer holds 0.67 hectares of land in China. That makes it very difficult when you are trying to bring innovation in technology at the grassroots level on the farms. The third challenge is water vulnerability. China has suffered because of various factors, including water abuse when it comes to their aquifers. There has been a substantial decline in the availability of water across China. That's the third major challenge for China. And finally, extreme weathers. When you go north, it is very cold, and for a substantial part of the year, the temperature are sub-zero. Similarly, when you move towards the west, it is very, very hot. And all these things makes agriculture in China vulnerable to climatic effects. Now let's understand the advantages. Now some of the disadvantages to come out of that, China has created advantages for themselves. First, they are having top R&D public and private involvement with universities which are China Agriculture University, Nanjing Agriculture University and Huazhong Agriculture University have been able to work on multiple aspects of agriculture technology, from digital agriculture going all the way to biotechnologies and even CRISPR, which is genetic editing, to come out with those breeds which can make China again food surplus. They have very well developed agriculture policy. From later part of 1970s, when they started using hybrid seed and better agricultural or agronomical practices to increase the availability of food, to coming to recent times, where in 2019 they came out with digital agriculture policy to promote digitization of agriculture, to very recently when they started working on biotech part of agriculture to allow even those breeds which are genetically edited. So all that makes China having a very clear vision of their agriculture policies, which is very, very critical. And finally, the extensive adoption of biotech and digital agriculture. If you see the robust ecosystem of private players, public sector undertakings and academics all working together to ensure that agriculture in China is both sustainable, profitable, as well as ensure food security of the nation. All the activities which happened in R&D leading to hundreds of patents being filed across multiple technologies are also very, very strongly leveraged in agriculture as well. Their robust manufacturing facilities, where they have become the global hub for manufacturing, has ensured that those consumables as well as the inputs in agriculture are available to farmers in China at a very, very economical price points. All of that has made the agriculture in China a strong sector which is growing leaps and bounds. So let's understand a little bit more about how the agri-tech sector has evolved in China. So typically you find that in China there are four broad sub-segments of AgTech industry. One is the controlled farming. Because I have explained you that the weather extremities as well as lack of availability of water has ensured that China become more innovative when it's come to growing crops round the year. Companies like SANANBIO, which is having one of the largest vertical farms across China, are a company which are using advanced technologies of hydroponics to cultivate in a sustainable manner more than 300 different varieties of food. Other company is Alesca Life. Alesca Life actually works with the model of making micro farms using containers as well as indoor farms, so that you are able to access to food you need in a hyper-local environment. Then the companies like JD.com, which is one of the largest or biggest retailer in China, has themselves created their own vertical farms to ensure they are able to provide their customers quality food product. And finally, KingPeng. KingPeng is one of the largest manufacturer of greenhouses and glass houses globally, with presence in more than 60 countries. Then there is a digital farming. So companies like TerraQuanta, which is into satellite-based data analysis for agriculture, or Mcfly, which uses various type of tools, including the sensors in airborne vehicle, that is drones, to create a 360-degree view of the farm, and based on that using AI to give advisory is one. ZAG actually uses multiple sort of bots, whether it is drones or on-land vehicles, to create a 360-degree view of what's happening. And then the company like Jiahe Info and Shuxi, they use remote sensing data as well as on-ground sensors, using that data or big data analytics and AI tools to create a value proposition to different stakeholders in agriculture ecosystem. China has also done very well when it comes to biotech, from companies like Longping High-Tech, which is named after the great person we just talked about, is one of the largest producer of seed in China, with varieties of corn, rice being used globally. Ecoman Biotech is a company which is advanced company which use biotech and digital technology to create biopesticides to reduce the impact of pests on the crops. Then the companies like KingAgroot works on both at the genetic level as well as the biochemical level to reduce the impact of weeds on the crop. And finally, ChinaCam, which is a giant which recently acquired a company called Syngenta as well as having a lot of subsidiaries which are working on biotech in agriculture. The most heated sector in China is marketplaces, typically e-grocery, agri-input e-commerce. They are sectors which have got maximum amount of attention, and where the investment has been over past couple of years in billions of dollars. Company like Dafengshou, which is actually a marketplace for farmers to buy agriculture input, or Meicai, which is actually a marketplace where the restaurant, catering industry or businesses can directly have access to farm produce. Yijiupi is a platform for business and consumers to buy food product as well as wine. Tony's Farm work extensively on organic produces directly from farm gate to the fork. And Tianchen Cloud Farm is actually a one-place solution for all the farmers, whether they want to purchase agriculture input or rent different sort of agriculture machinery. So if you see that China is a country which is predominantly supported very strongly by the AgTech ecosystem itself, with a lot of investment happening from public as well as private sector. And currently, definitely the focus has been on the marketplace AgriTech players. And if we see 44 billion US dollars were invested in overall AgTech and agriculture sector last year in China, which is 4 times of what it was 3 years back. So we all can see that the agriculture sector is being well funded, well invested and well supported in China. Let's talk about some of the companies in a little bit of detail. So if you see that, as I was talking about SANANBIO, I'm sorry for the pronunciation because Chinese pronunciation are not very easy to come out with. So SANANBIO is a company which gives you turnkey solution when it comes to hydroponics or vertical farms. They're having solutions where they can create large farms, right, which are covering close to 1 square kilometer of land and are able to cultivate more than 300 different varieties of food with tens of patents being filed by them. SANANBIO is also having its own captive vertical farms, and their intention is to ensure that by using minimum amount of agriculture inputs, electricity and labor, they are able to deliver quality food produce to the consumers. The second company which we talk about similar to SANANBIO is Alesca Life. So Alesca Life is actually a company which is innovated in digital technologies like AI, ML, automation, climate science, agronomy to create a container which can produce hundreds of different varieties of food which can be consumed in a local or hyper-local environment. They also have very small mini farms which are typically racks where you can grow different type of crops, all totally autonomous without any intervention of human being except for a plucking and harvesting of the food required. Alesca Life is also having excellent capability when it comes to agronomic innovations. The next company we talk about is TerraQuanta. TerraQuanta is a company which collects satellite-based data from multiple sources, convert them into insights, and those insights can be used from agronomy companies to policy making by public sector to insurance companies to financial companies and the farmers, giving them 360-degree view of how they need to act on based on the data being provided to them. TerraQuanta is also a company which is having excellent capability in processing the remote sensing data for different sectors other than agriculture as well. Then we talk about Mcfly. So Mcfly is predominantly using the detection sensors, typically hyper and multispectral sensors, to create a 360-degree view about the soil, the growth, the vegetative index, impact of the disease or pest on the crop, and hence recommending on a real-time basis the next activity a farmer need to do on the farmland. Beauty of Mcfly is that actually they gives you a holistic solution which includes the sensors on the ground, flying UAVs, as well as a complete software as a service package which can be used using a simple mobile phone and can be acted upon. Similar to Mcfly, with a little bit of divergence, is AgTech. AgTech is not just a digital platform for remote sensing information or sensing information, but they also have on-land moving vehicles. So autonomous vehicle which can be deployed on the farm, just like drones, but instead of flying, they're on the ground and they're able to collect far more data than what the drone can achieve from height of a meter or 2 meters. AgTech also gives a comprehensive software as a service platform for doing all the analysis of this data to give value to different stakeholders, whether it is the input providers, whether it is the farmers, or those who want to buy commodities from the farm gate. Another company we talk about is Ecoman Biotech. Now, the Ecoman Biotech is a company which works on multiple technologies to achieve a single point agenda of reducing the impact of pests without using harmful chemicals on the crop. All fruits and vegetables are having a challenge that they would have to face the disease or pest across their life cycle. Using artificial intelligence models for simulation, as well as biotechnology to come out with the right sort of applications, they are able to reduce millions of tons of chemicals usage in agriculture. Close to 200 million hectares of land are under the usage of product of Ecoman Biotech. They also have a lot of non-application products to remove the pest through their vectors, whether it is phenome-based sticky plates where the pests are attracted and they get stuck to it. So Ecoman Biotech is a company to watch when it comes to biotech. Then the last company we talk about is Dafengshou. So Dafengshou is a company which actually is, if you see, is a holistic solution where a farmer can access to every possible agriculture input from one dashboard. Advisory, buying of right relevant agriculture input, all of this can be done through Dafengshou's one window. So we have understood that China has been a strong player when it comes to AgTech, and going forward their vision of becoming the food ball of the world by 2050, where more than 30% of the global food is produced in China, is a vision statement in it itself, and they are moving in that direction with support from the government, public sector, private entities, as well as academics. I hope you would have enjoyed this session of AgriViews. Here again I would like to introduce that Honeybee is working with AgTech players from across the globe to bring their technologies to developing markets of Asia and Africa. Thank you. See you in next AgriViews.